In this lesson, we're going to continue to refine the webcam detail. Specifically, we're going to just change the reflection on the material in these rings on the webcam. We need to rotate that mounting ring slightly, and we also need to add the lenses back into our structure. So to begin with, let's adjust the material finish on that webcam. So we're just going to open up our V-Ray material editor. We'll just drag that into shot. Now we allocated the material previously by the chrome color, so we just want to duplicate that material to modify it. So we've left clicked and right clicked. There's the new material. We'll right click to rename it. We'll call it webcam rings. There we go. Oops. We'll just go back. Webcam rings. There we are. Now we'll maintain our reflection we'll reduce it to 10 because we don't want it quite as sharp. We're going to make that reflection just a little bit more diffused. So in order to do that, we're going to reduce the reflection setting on the glossiness level down to 0.8. So let's just preview that to begin with to test it. So you'll notice up in this left-hand corner, we've got a very sharp reflection here. When we reduce this down slightly to 0.8, and preview it again, you see this reflection gets softened out, so it'll give us a more brushed metal finish. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the diffuse color to black. So click OK. Now we're going to allocate that material via selection, so I'm just going to move that out of position. And we grouped that material before, so there are the elements that we now want to be that fresh color. And we'll allocate that. Right click, allocate to selection, click OK, and we can just close the material editor, and we're just going to do a test render on that now. Okay, you can see we've got a slightly darker and more satin finish to those rings on the webcam. We can tweak those to our heart's content to bring that down, but for the time being, that's giving me the effect that I'm after. So the next thing we need to do is just look at this bracket. And we're just going to switch off that view for a moment now and double click on our rend view. Double click on our top view to bring that into shot. And we want to activate our warning light and just make sure our logo's in shot. So we're just going to right click to show objects. Double click on our top view again. Spin it around until we find the bit that we're looking for. There we go. Now we're going to select our logo. Sorry, I'll bring that up to shot. So I'm just dragging my layer manager into view. I'm right clicking on the logo, select objects so we can see on screen there. We're just isolating our problem now. And I'm just going to take the layer manager to one side and we're clicking the poly surface that makes the mounting ring and we're going to hide that. Dig underneath our hide command to isolate our problem. Excellent. Okay, and now what we need to do is, since this is our origin point, we simply need to rotate that through 180 degrees. So left click on the transform command, click on rotate, and we're going to make sure our grid snap is on. So we're going to zoom in on our origin point, drag to the left hand side, and just simply flip it around. And you can see the highlighted logo type being moved from one side to the other. Left click one more time, and we've now moved that around. The reason we've done that, double click on Rend View 1. If I select our chosen view at this stage, which I noticed earlier on, we now have our logo type back on a visible face, whereas previously it was on the wrong side. So I'm just going to bring up everything in shot. So right click on our hide command, and we now have our logo in this position such that it'll be visible on our final rendering. Okay. Since we're focused on that logo element at this stage, let's also allocate the material. So we simply left click on our material editor, and we're going to use the webcam rings finish that we've just allocated and we'll fabricated, and we're going to allocate that via layer. So right click on the finish, scroll down to apply material to layer, and then scroll down the selection, and what we're looking for is the, where are we? There we are, warning light logo. click OK, and we've now applied that finish to our logo. We're going to separately look at the little inset here later on, but for the time being we now have the material finish that we want on the logo. We can close that off for a moment, and we're going to isolate a new problem. So if we bring our cams back onto with the layers manager, so we right click on the blue line under cams, select sub layers, and we will hide that command out. So press the little light bulb. There we go. Dig underneath the command to swap hidden and visible, so we've got everything in shot again. I'll take the layer manager to one side. Make sure our lamp is switched on, so I'll just switch our lens on. You can see it in there, and we're going to create a new material. So lens, scroll to the top of our scene materials list, right click, create new material, standard. You can see default material comes up there, and right click again, rename material webcam lens. Okay, its diffuse color will be dark green. So just click straight on the tab on this occasion. We can select the color as dark green. That should be fine. Click OK. Preview that so we can see it on screen. We'll make its transparency just a little bit transparent. So about 70 or 80% should be fine. Click OK. You can preview that. We can see it there. Now we're going to add a reflection layer. So we've got our webcam lens there. Just scroll down a bit so we can see it on screen. We're going to create a layer reflection. We'll make that reflection, let's see, we'll make it about 10. Nice and sharp. Preview that. Maybe a little bit too much, I think. We'll test it shortly, but we'll just preview it at that. That should be good. A nice and sharp reflection on glass. Now we're going to add a glow to that. So we're just going to right click on the lens, create a layer, emissive. Okay, we need the color of the emissive layer to match the color of the glass on this occasion. So we're going to click dark green, move it up just slightly, click OK, and in the multiplier we'll give it a strong glow, so we'll make it about 40 just initially. We can see it's got a nice sort of shine to it, and we're going to allocate that material via layer. So right click on the lens, go to apply material to layer, scroll down to webcam, cam lens, click OK, switch that off, and I'm just going to position that such that we can see it. I'll show it. There we go, and I'm just going to pause there while we do a render. So you can see on the rendering there we've got a nice otherworldly sort of green glow coming out of these sensors that I've termed for the time being webcams. We've learned how to do a rather nice little brushed finish on our materials by copying our chrome finish, and that's a nice contrast to the stipple rubbered finish we have on the edge of the webcam. So we're going to do one more detail at this stage. So we're just going to add the logo here, which is previously the default Rhino logo. So we're going to open our material editor. We're going to create a fresh material. Create material standard. We're going to rename it logo. Oops. There we go. Oh, with the help if I can spell it. OGO. Next, under the diffuse tab, we're going to allocate a bitmap. So click down to text bitmap, and we're going to source the logo A from your reference file folder, so you can see it there. If I can bring it down, it's not coming. Click open. I'll reference it on screen there, so you can see the logo there that we've used previously. We can click OK on that. We're now going to add a transparency map to that, so I'll just preview it there so you can see. Click on the M under transparency, go down to text bitmap, and you'll also see in your reference files folder logo A alpha. Click on that, click open, preview it. You can see it there on screen. And in this occasion, we're going to click invert to preview it, so it reverses the color on the screen. Click OK. Now that map has been transferred across, so if we move it across, you can now see the logo is isolated. I'm just going to move the material editor to one side. We're going to zoom in and just grab that little surface. Let's see if we've got it there. Got the right one. I'm not entirely sure. Let's just see by double clicking on our 4-point view. Zoom in. We've got to get the right one. Make sure I've got the right one. Yep, I think we've got the right one there. Okay, now we're going to allocate that material via selection. So right click on the logo, apply material via selection, and we can zoom out on that view just a little bit. There we go, and we'll pause it there. So just while we were paused, I've just rendered that out so you can see now using a V-Ray material, we've created a logo using a transparency map to create transparency around the bitmap. We've created a glow on the emissive material on the webcams, and we've used a duplicate material off the chrome to create a more burnished, brushed finish on the aluminium rings or on the steel rings in the center and on the ends of the webcam. Okay, see you in the next lesson.